This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact.
The Charlotte Symphony performs here at Bell Theater. I'm Jeff Rivenbark. Coming up, we'll show you how the symphony is grooming a new generation of talented musicians.
Plus, a Belmont man considered to be a world-class violin maker shows us how he makes these beautiful stringed instruments. And our one-tank trip takes us to Catawba County, to a place that looks like it did a century ago. Don't go anywhere. Carolina Impact starts right now.
Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. Did you play an instrument in high school band? I played the xylophone. I was okay, but I probably wouldn't have made the Charlotte Symphony's Youth Orchestra. These kids are absolutely phenomenal. Carolina Impact's Jeff Rivenbark introduces us to a few of them.
I really just have a passion for music.
A homeschooled 10th grader, Drew Dansby, spends about 12 hours each week rehearsing in his bedroom.
I'm not going to pretend like every time I pick up my violin practice, it's like I really want to do that. There's some days when I just don't feel like it at all.
Drew's interest in music began when he was 3 years old.
And so on his 4th birthday, on the day, he had his first violin lesson. And he was just as happy as could be. And he came home and just wouldn't put it down.
6 months later, he started taking cello lessons.
For him, it was not a chore or something we had him do to learn. It was just like, you know, a kid jumps on his bike and wants to go ride a bike.
He's part musician, part composer. When a melody pops into his head, Drew scribbles it down on a dry erase board in his bedroom.
You know, talent doesn't really mean as much to me as, you know, how hard you work or what you do with your talent.
Years ago, Drew joined the Charlotte Symphony's Junior Youth Orchestra, a program for younger kids. And today he's in the Youth Orchestra. They meet weekly to rehearse at St. Luke's Lutheran Church. Harpist Connor May Kelly remembers the first time she attended a rehearsal.
And I looked around and there were people from all different schools, all different backgrounds, all different instruments, and we were all there because we loved to play music. And that struck me so deeply.
The youth orchestras provide lots of exciting experiences for these budding musicians. Daniel Chibeta plays the viola.
This summer we're actually taking a tour to Carnegie Hall to perform in New York City on that world-renowned stage. So that I feel incredibly lucky to have this opportunity.
Founded in 1961, the Charlotte Symphony Youth Orchestra is an audition-only program that offers training in a professional symphony atmosphere. Once a year, the youth orchestra performs side by side with members of the Charlotte Symphony, and it's a highlight moment for the kids taking part in the program.
Playing with the adults orchestra is like a completely different thing, because then I am sitting next to somebody who has been in the game for so much longer and has so much more experience than I do.
During this year's concert in March, Drew got the chance to play a solo with the Charlotte Symphony.
It's so exciting. You know, you just feel the nerves coming and the adrenaline pumping, and you just can't wait to get on stage and perform.
Here's another talented teen in this year's youth orchestra. That's Audrey Kill High School sophomore Alan Wang. He started taking piano lessons at age 6. Like Drew, Alan also had the opportunity to play a solo with the Charlotte Symphony.
It's fun for me to conduct because they're at such a high level.
As music director of the youth orchestras, Ernest Pereira has worked with both ensembles for 27 years.
We often think the symphony is a dying sort of art, and the future is the kids. More important than even playing in the symphony is conducting and also teaching, so that the next generation will emerge.
A musician for the orchestra, Lori Tiberio started working with the kids in the early 80s. She says both ensembles serve an important role.
So no matter what they do, they will take that music with them for the rest of their lives. And as they go forward, even if they don't go into music, they'll be supporters of the arts, they'll be supporters of music.
Having worked with hundreds of teens over the years, Lori says Drew is pretty unique.
To be comfortable on two different instruments like that is pretty amazing.
Back at Drew's house, the violin hangs on the wall while he concentrates on schoolwork. He says music helps him put everything else in perspective.
Just the nature of music, it makes you question the world. It changes how you think about the world. Music has definitely impacted me a lot. I really love doing it.
Whether he's only playing for himself or a packed audience, the passion Drew and his fellow Youth Symphony members have for music comes across simply by watching and listening to them play. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jeff Rivenpark reporting.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Those are some pretty terrific teens, and we want to wish them luck on their Carnegie Hall adventure coming up in June. Well, joining me now is Mary Deisler, President and CEO of the Charlotte Symphony. Mary, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me and having us.
Well, we are blown away by the talent of those teens. I mean, what an extraordinary addition to your fabulous orchestra to begin with. And you know I'm a huge fan and recently saw the Beatles presentation that you guys did, which was really just an amazing night and such a great thing to see a large audience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Our sales are picking up, and that's a very, very good sign. But we're so excited about the youth orchestra and their trip to Carnegie Hall. And you've heard them play, you've seen the wonderful artistry that's on stage. It's hard to believe that some of these kids are 14, 15, 16 years old and playing at this incredible level. And that commitment that they have, I mean, he was saying 10 hours a week of practicing. Absolutely. For a teenager. For a teenager who has school and all the other things that they have in their life. And for the parents as well to make the time and the commitment to allow their teenager to do it. It's a pretty extraordinary effort all the way around. So this is just one of many outreach components that the Charlotte Symphony has. Talk to us about some of the other outreach things that you do that benefit our community that chances are people don't know about. Yeah, absolutely. We have a real commitment to being part of the community, to being indispensable to the community as we look at going forward. We're doing 2 concerts at the end of April as follow-up to the peace concert we did the day after the riots uptown. One will be at First Baptist West and one will be at Providence Day, 2 very different locations. And we're partnering with Sign of the Times, organization that tells the story of the African American diaspora in Charlotte and the Levine Museum to weave a through line about the African American experience in Charlotte. So it'll be a call and response concert, a little bit of jazz from their part and a little bit of classical from ours. Those are 2 free concerts. We did a program 2 weeks ago, Music Without Borders, a free lunchtime concert where we perform music from one of the death camps around the Holocaust, Mexican classical music, and a piano quintet written by a Syrian composer called For Aleppo. So without saying much, to talk about how music makes connections and creates bonds among people where sometimes now our society looks like we're trying to divide people. So a very important commitment out into the community. And that is one of the beautiful things of the arts. The arts add such a fabric of joy, and that connection. But you're right, in a time when it does feel like our country is more divided than ever before, you know, what you're doing and what the arts are doing is really bringing people together. What do you think is the biggest surprise that people might not understand about the orchestra? We're not just performing music on our main stages uptown, the Night and the Belk. Those are the core of what we do as an organization, of course, but we have a lot of fun out in the community. Our musicians are real people. They like to have fun. We've done a little brew pub series at Noda Brewery, the third and last in the series coming up, I think, May 2nd. Totally informal, musicians very close to the audience. You get a beer along with your concert ticket and the musicians mingle with you. So they are real people, they're part of the community, they like to have fun. And it's not the stuffy, formal, it's not your mother's or your grandmother's symphony. I think that's the most important thing to know. And that is such a misconception that people have when you talk about the symphony. And you do the classics, but you have the pop series as well. Absolutely. And to combine the two really is exciting, to be able to just have that sense of pride in the musicianship, and you can kind of get away from the stress of the day. Yeah, absolutely. Well, music takes you to another place and it allows you to feel emotions you might not feel comfortable thinking about during the day. Even if it's just relax, go into another zone, you're hearing the Beatles or you're hearing a wonderful Rachmaninoff piano concerto. Music has that way of sort of lifting your spirits, opening your mind, creating connections. So yeah, we're very lucky.
And it is, I was so amazed at the Beatles concert recently of just, it's all ages.
It absolutely.
And all dresses. People were
absolutely.
there in jeans,
Yeah.
people were there dressed up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and everyone was welcome.
Absolutely. That's really, really important. That we're not the stuffy symphony where you wear the white gloves and you get formally dressed up. You come as you like. You participate. People were singing along, dancing. I've had people dancing in the aisles for it. So it can be fun, and it is fun most of the time.
Well, we appreciate all that you do for our community. Mary Deisler, President and CEO of the Charlotte Symphony, thank you so much.
Amy, thank you for this wonderful, wonderful opportunity.
Well, you can't have skillful musicians without someone creating those incredible instruments. Our next story takes us to Belmont to meet violin maker Kurt Widenhouse. He's made about 300 violins, and each one can take up to 6 months to build. Did you know there are actually 81 pieces in a violin? Well, producer Doug Stacker tells us a whole lot more.
My violin has a slightly different tone. I'm Jamie Laval. I'm a full-time touring performer, composer, and storyteller. What I'm looking for in an instrument that is ideally matched to me is one that has different tonal nuances that I can use then to help convey my creative ideas. I went on a 3-year campaign to find, the ideal modern violin. Probably tried violins from 50 different makers. Fortunately, I discovered the work of Kurt Widenhouse.
If the violin asks you to keep playing because it's fun, it feels good, and it makes you sound better. My name is Kurt Widenhouse, and I'm a violin maker. You don't know what tributary you're going to get on until you're on it. But I studied music, started playing the violin, and fell in love with that. I found out that violin making existed and that it was possible to become a violin maker. I got accepted into a violin making school, then went to work for violin shops in different parts of the country. Only great trees and rare trees can make a great violin. Every single curvature and aspect of a violin has an artistic point, but it's also a craft. It has to function under a lot of demands. If you count all the individual pieces of wood that are glued together, you're going to come up with about 81 individual pieces. My process lasts about 6 months for each instrument. 2 to 3 months in sunlight so that the wood can oxidize and become golden brown. When we're crafting the violin, I'm making decisions about every aspect to the 20th of a millimeter of what I'm going to do. You're constantly in a world of, am I making the right choices? If I'm checking the flexibility of a piece of wood, how strong are my hands today? So you're in a state of doubt throughout the entire making process.
Kurt is kind of the Stradivarius of today, really. He has that great mixture of science and art.
A famous violinist, they have demands. They've played Stradivarius violins. They've played Guarnerius. They know what great violins sound like. The sound of a violin is 80 or 90% the player and 10 or so percent the violin. Jamie Laval commissioned me to make a Stradivarius model violin. It means a lot to him, but what he's doing means equally or more to me because he's putting life into my work. I have a great reverence for the art form that it is and how it developed. The joy of creating something that will last beyond your lifetime. It's going to last 300 or 400 or 500 years if they're well taken care of. There's always something greater to shoot for than you're able to do. Maybe time will help create that. I don't know, but do the best you can and just always try to make it better.
Thanks, Doug. If you want to learn more about Kurt Widenhouse, we've got a link to his website posted along with this story at pbscharlotte.org. Well, so much has changed in education since I was a kid. Did you know students can now graduate high school with an associate's degree as well? Well, there are more than 24,000 students enrolled in what's called early college programs across our state. In Rowan County, there are 235 students taking advantage of this program. As Carolina Impact's Tanisha Johnson reports, this not only keeps some kids from dropping out, but also makes it possible for many to be the first in their family to go to college.
Up in the morning and out to school. 15-year-old Jennifer De La Cruz knows firsthand how intense the program can be.
I get stressed out easily, so when I have so much work back to back, I do really have anxiety attacks.
5 minutes. This is what it says. Here's how I think you should vote and why.
Despite the hard work, she's happy to know when she finishes the early college program, she'll be further along with her academic career than other teens her age.
I'm a 15-year-old girl, and I'm taking college classes. By the time I'm 18, I'm already having my associate's degree. That doesn't happen to everyone.
All right, get to work. Be ready to teach us.
Teresa Pierce is a world history teacher in the early college program, and she relates well to her students because she too was the first in her family to go to college.
I tell them I failed a course my first semester, and I try to show them that failure is not the end. You can fail something, but what do you do after that? It's what you propel yourself to. Does it make you better or does it make you bitter?
What kind of group are you?
We're the peasants.
We're the peasants.
As principal of the early college program, Patrick Hosey says it's rewarding to see all of the students reach their academic goals, especially first-generation college students.
Out of our 65 kids we take per year, at least 53 of those family has never seen college before. And that's what makes us unique.
What's a night in 2017, Alicia?
Hosey says the early college program also helps to tackle another issue.
Census indicators was that we were having low college-going families in Rowan County. So they wanted to address that. And by helping with that, you can also help with the dropout rate.
It's better for me to seek out higher education than to concern myself about sports.
Wesley's parents were shocked their son wanted to be in an accelerated learning program like this.
Sometimes I think he worked maybe a little under the wire, under his potential, elementary, middle school. So it was kind of a surprise when he said he wanted to go to early college because we knew that the course load was kind of rigorous.
He even thought about getting out. He was like, hey, I can go back to high school. And we told him, I said, you know, you already got 2 years invested. You need to finish it up.
Today, he's a senior and very glad he didn't give up.
It wasn't that hard as I thought it was going to be. I just had to learn how to spend a little bit more time on my homework than I usually did.
Students spend a great deal of time learning here on campus, but that's only half of the battle. When some leave here, they're heading straight to work.
While Nicholas De La Cruz was in the early college program, he started working at a local grocery store.
How are you doing? On everything okay?
Yeah. Balancing college classes and work wasn't easy.
It was really tough. I had to use time management skills very well and manage my time correctly to see around my work schedule and around my school schedule. I know I was wanting to go to college, so I know college can be expensive, so I was trying to save up money.
Today, he's a sales associate at this Food Lion store.
Your total is $18.24?
And majoring in business administration at nearby Catawba College. De La Cruz says going to early college was one of the best decisions he's made.
And the thing that gets me is the college graduation was before my high school graduation. So I graduated college before I even graduated high school.
He encourages other first-generation college students like his sister Jennifer to do the same. As for Wesley Moore, he's got about another month before graduating from early college, and he wants to become a physical therapist assistant.
I think my experiences here was one I'll remember for the rest of my life. I don't think I would trade it for anything else.
While the early college program has been a lot of hard work, he's grateful for where he is now and where he's headed. For Carolina Impact, I'm Tanisha Johnson reporting.
Thanks, Tanisha. In Mecklenburg County, the program is called Middle College High School, and it's located on Central Piedmont Community College's Cato, Levine, and Harper campuses. Coming this fall, there will be a 4th Middle College High added at Moronca's campus. You can find enrollment information on our website, of course. Well, picnic season is upon us, and Murray's Mill Historic District in eastern Catawba County might be a great place to have one. It looks pretty much the way it did a century ago. In tonight's One Tank Trip, producer Russ Hunsinger shows us the centerpiece of this National Historic Site is a dam dating back to the early 1900s.
Today, you're visiting Murray's Mill Historic District. Here we have nearly 20 buildings that range in age from 1812 to 1913, all of which have to do with the Murray family, who ran the mill for over a century.
This particular mill ran until 1967, produced wheat, cornmeal, wheat flour, feed for local livestock.
Historically speaking, community members would come here to buy their staples, their grits from the mill and their eggs from the store, and do a little bit of socializing in between.
Well, this is the last surviving grist mill in the Catawba River Valley, and it is a historic site stored by the Catawba County Historical Association.
Historic buildings need a lot of extra attention, and we're lucky enough that when this site was threatened, the community rallied, saved it, and still help us today with those brick and mortar needs.
We rebuilt the wheel, the internal workings of the mill itself, restored the outside. The roof was partially off and all the siding was reworked.
A couple times a year, we grind our own cornmeal and grits and wheat. In fact, behind the mill, all the acreage that you see, that is owned by a local farmer who works closely with us, and he donates the corn. And then Renwood Mills in Newton, the county seat, donates the wheat. Grown locally, ground locally, and cooked in local homes.
We have a 28-foot overshot water wheel. From the pond behind us, the water is fed to the wheel. Here in the basement, just right outside the water wheel, we actually have the drive gears that comes in to drive a set of gears that's actually driving our stone. The corn should be loaded into a bin, should be fed into the wheel. But as the corn falls down the middle and travels out these valleys and across these ridges is actually where it's ground. The top stone's actually the only one that turns. The stones actually do not touch. The gap in between there is just fractions of an inch, which can be adjusted to get the coarseness that you want out of the corn. From there, we would feed it into the bolter, and we can actually sift out the cornmeal to be bagged for the product that we sell.
I used to come here when I was a kid, and we bought grits here. I was born and raised on grits, and I love the grits from here.
I think it's a great historical mark to let people know what things used to be like in the past, especially for my 7-year-old son.
I just come here to hang out and work because there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. I just like the water, the wheel.
We live on Murray's Mill Road, so we live right up from the mill, so we get to come a lot. But if you've never been, it's a beautiful site with a trail that goes around. So we love to come just watch the wheel when it's running, and we usually leave with some cornmeal. So.
I think it's important to save these old historic sites because this is where people lived their lives. This is where they shopped. This is where they fell in love. This is where they raised their families. And still today, we have many families that come here to shoot their family portraits, come here and have their weddings, and they're really making new memories.
Thanks so much, Russ. That's the perfect setting for a picnic, and I'm going to have to check it out sometime soon. Well, please, be sure to friend us on Facebook. We're doing something new. We've started posting a Facebook Live sneak peek of our guest interviews, so you get to see them before our broadcast. It's part of our new digital-first strategy here on PBS Charlotte. It'll automatically show up on your news feed by simply liking our Facebook page. Well, that does it for us this evening. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
A production of PBS Charlotte.